A lot of people believe that after the shooting attempt on Donald Trump, he would coast into victory. Because simply put, Americans care more that his ear was hit with bullets than they care when it happens to elementary school students. But Donald Trump didn't do what a lot of them thought he would do. Some of them thought that he would coast into victory, go to meet the victims in the hospital and tone down the rhetoric until he has won. That hasn't happened, and the more the information comes out about the shooting, the less people really are sympathetic. Well, a big one is the shooter himself being a registered Republican, reportedly using a gun that Democrats want to have banned from civilian hands. And there's a discussion on social media, whether true or not, that the reason he might have been able to get into the position he was is that he was outside of the perimeter of Secret Service, and the state's lax gun laws mean that he can carry a weapon. True or not, that is not a good look for a Republican candidate right now. Now, a lot of people instead, especially in the MAGA camp, immediately began focusing on the victims to use them as promo material essentially for Donald Trump, especially the man who died, who was a firefighter. The issue was, for them, is once his name was known, people went to his Twitter, and they found him talking about January 6th, showing that America was fed up with Mike Pence, which is not a good look after what happened. They also found many other instances, including a picture showing the devastation in Gaza and asking how can they recover, and his response was, they'll get over it like the Japanese. Now, this of course brings people back immediately to Donald Trump talking about mass shootings before, where he said the victims' families and the victims will just have to get over it. But there still was a chance. There was a chance that Donald Trump would tone down the rhetoric, push up the sympathy card, and then we got this message on Truth Social. As we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step. If you haven't seen, the judge in Florida that people believe is biased towards Trump, he appointed her after he already lost the election. She has dismissed the case on procedural grounds about Jack Smith. Everyone's expecting it'll just go to a higher court, be reinstated, possibly with a new judge. But Trump continues. Followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts. The January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C., so he is already taking the January 6th insurrection and already calling it a hoax yet again. The New York AG scam, fake claims about a woman I never met, a decades-old photo in line with her then husband does not count, so there he is back to defamation. He could go to court again over that. And the Georgia perfect phone call charges. The Democrat Justice Department coordinated all of these political attacks, which are an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. And just to be clear, if it was coordinated by Joe Biden, if it's an official act, it's now okay to the Supreme Court. But it's not coordinated by Joe Biden, of course, and we all know that, and even Trump knows that. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again. He was really sitting at a layup. MAGA felt it. Democrats felt it. Left-leaning people felt it. Independents felt it. He just had to keep the sympathy going. And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Because he's a piece of shit. Gotta shine through. Can't help himself. And I expect, after he speaks at the RNC, he might mention it. But I cannot imagine he doesn't say something horrible at the RNC and it completely overshadow what happened Saturday. Or his VP pick being so absolutely terrible that it completely overshadows it. Because he's Trump. What can we expect? You expected decency, humanity, or even basic common sense? You should know better.